Ancient people have held a widespread belief that the history of humanity and each soul's journey is recorded, be it in a celestial book, a tablet, or a library. In Christianity and Judaism, for instance, the Book of Life is the place in which God records the name of every person who is created. In the Bible's Psalm 139, Jewish King David speaks about how God has written all the details of his life before he lived it. Your eyes saw my substance, being yet unformed, and in your book they were all written, the days fashioned for me, when as yet there were none of them. And the Gospel of Luke says, but rejoice that your names are recorded in the Book of Life. In modern times, the Book of Life has been referred to as the Acacia Record. So what is Acacia? The Sanskrit word Acacia can be translated as cosmic sky, ether, or void. It is the subtlest element created in the astral world and the essence of all things in the material world. In Hinduism, Acacia is one of the 5 elements, with the other 4 being earth, water, fire, and air. The 19th century Indian spiritual leader Swami Vivekananda defined it as follows.
Akasha is the omnipresent, all-penetrating existence. Everything that has form, everything that is the result of combination, is evolved out of this Akasha. It is the Akasha that becomes the air, that becomes the liquids, that becomes the solids. It is the Akasha that becomes the sun, the earth, the moon, the stars, the comets. It is the Akasha that becomes the human body, the animal body, the plants, every form that we see, everything that can be sensed, everything that exists. At the beginning of creation, there is only this Akasha. At the end of the cycle, the solids, the liquids, and the gases all melt into the Akasha again. And the next creation similarly proceeds out of this Akasha.
During a lecture at the United Nations headquarters in New York, USA, Supreme Master Ching Hai explained that the Akashic Record is a kind of library which is situated in the causal world, or second world, beyond our physical realm. Like a real library, those who know the way can access the Akashic Library.
All of you who practice yogas or some kind of meditation would understand Akashic Record, which is a kind of library, like the one we have next door in the UN, with all kind of languages in it. You see Arabic, Russian, Chinese, English, and French, German, everything in your library next door, all kind of languages. And should you have the ability to read all these languages, you know what's going on in that country. So similarly, the one who has access to the second level, he would understand. He can interpret a pattern of a person very clearly, the way you see your own biography. And we know many things that we could not name. And every so-called miracles would happen to us, whether we want it or not. Because our intellect just open and just know how to contact the higher source of healing, of arranging, so that our life would become smoother, and better.
In the 19th century, the early members of the Theosophical Society, Helena Blavatsky and Charles W. Leadbeater, accessed the Akashic Record to find deeper levels of metaphysical wisdom and knowledge. They were thus able to write many books on universal spiritual laws, the chakras and auras, the history of past civilizations, and the development of the soul. The internationally revered Helena Blavatsky described the process of how she accessed the Akashic Record as follows.
I make what I can only describe as a sort of vacuum in the air before me, and fix my sight and my will upon it, and soon scene after scene passes before me like the successive pictures of a diorama, or if I need a reference or information from some book, I fix my mind intensely, and the astral counterpart of the book appears, and from it I take what I need, the more perfectly my mind is freed from distractions and mortifications, the more energy and intenseness it possesses, the more easily I can do this.
Another influential spiritual thinker of the latter 19th and early 20th centuries was Austrian-born Dr. Rudolf Steiner, who founded the Anthroposophical Society. He too wrote about the Akashic Record.
The one who has acquired the ability to perceive in the spiritual world comes to know past events in their eternal character. They do not stand before him like the dead testimony of history, but appear in full life. In a certain sense, what has happened takes place before him. Those initiated into the reading of such a living script can look back into a much more remote past than is represented by external history, and on the basis of direct spiritual perception, they can also describe much more dependably the things of which history tells.
Dr. Rudolf Steiner gained many insights from the Akashic Record which helped him to establish his advanced concepts on farming, education, and architecture. With his ability to access the Akashic Record, Dr. Steiner was also able to speak about aspects of the life of Jesus Christ which are not recorded in the four Gospels. His lectures were published in the book, The Fifth Gospel from the Akashic Record. About the accuracy of readings of the Akashic Record, Dr. Rudolf Steiner commented,
In order to avoid possible misunderstanding, it should be said that spiritual perception is not infallible. This perception also can err, can see in an inexact, oblique, wrong manner. No man is free from error in this field, no matter how high he stands. Therefore one should not object when communications emanating from such spiritual sources do not always entirely correspond. But the dependability of observation is much greater here than in the external world of the senses. What various initiates can relate about history and prehistory will be in essential agreement.
Indeed, the Akashic Record readings of different privileged individuals from U.S. modern psychic Edgar Cayce to 19th century German mystic Anne Katharina Emmerich bear many similarities. From a scientific standpoint, respected Hungarian system theorist Dr. Ervin Laszlo links the Akashic Record to recent discoveries in physics. In his book, Science and the Akashic Field, Dr. Laszlo writes,
Mystics and sages have long maintained that there exists an interconnecting cosmic field at the roots of reality that conserves and maintains information, a field known as the Akashic Record. Recent discoveries in vacuum physics show that this Akashic field is reality and has its equivalent in science's zero-point field that underlines space itself. This field consists of a subtle sea of fluctuating energies from which all things arise: atoms and galaxies, stars and planets, living beings, and even consciousness. This zero-point Akashic field is the constant and enduring memory of the universe. It holds the record of all that has happened on Earth and in the cosmos, and relates it to all that is yet to happen.
Dr. Ervin Laszlo also published another book titled The Akashic Experience, in which he gathered the testimonies of cultural and scientific leaders about their interactions with the Akashic field. Let's take a look at the Akashic experiences of the spiritual practitioner Swami Cree, who is one of the authors featured in Dr. Laszlo's book, The Akashic Experience. Swami Cree, also known as J. Donald Waters, is a direct disciple of the famous late Indian spiritual teacher Paramahansa Yogananda. Swami Cree is the author of 85 books and more than 400 pieces of music, as well as the founder of the spiritual community Ananda Village in California, USA. Now in India, there exist 12 libraries containing palm leaves which are said to have the writings of a group of sages dating several thousand years ago. Revealed in them are the life details of several million people, including each one's present life, most recent life, and next life. While staying in India, Swami Cree had the chance to visit such a palm leaf library in the town of Barnala, which reportedly had been established by the sage Brigu several thousand years ago. Astonishingly, the palm leaf which was read to Swami Kriyananda accurately detailed his own monk's name, his birth name, that he would be born in Romania and later live in the United States, and that he would have 2 brothers but no living sister. The palm leaf also contained information about his last life as well as of the consequences of his good and bad karma which he was about to reap in this lifetime. For Swami Kriyananda, as well as for many other people who have had readings from the palm leaves, all of the predictions detailed with them came true. His ability to access the Akashic field also enabled Swami Kriyananda to learn numerous languages and compose music and songs, even in languages he did not understand. He wrote, "I found that I could also tune into a country and instantly receive a melody that was suited to that essential consciousness of that country." Swami Yogananda revealed several of his former incarnations to Swami Kriyananda, among others that he had been Arjuna, the devoted friend of Lord Krishna. In his book, Conversations with Yogananda, Swami Kriyananda writes that Yogananda also stated that he had been an English king and that Kriyananda had been his son in that lifetime. Furthermore, Yogananda revealed the former incarnations of several famous historic personalities, such as military leaders. Among other lessons, this helps to illustrate the human tendency to adopt similar roles or occupations, life after life. Supreme Master Ching Hai spoke about this phenomenon during her 1992 lecture at the United Nations headquarters in the United States.
Where do the past karma come from?
Past life remembrances.
Yes, you can read the past life record, that's for sure. And the past life records, as I told you, came from the Akashic Record. And how do these past life experiences related to the present karma? We can say that these are the experiences we have learned in order to cope with this present lifetime. What you assimilate in the past, you will bring into practice at this present lifetime. And similarly, too many unpleasant experiences in the past would make you feel frightened when you see some symbol that is very much similar to the past life. If last life you have already studied and researched deep into some scientific field, this life you will find yourself still very interested.
Thank you, good-hearted viewers, for your company today on a journey through aesthetic realms. May our consciousness rise and understanding grow about our fascinating spiritual universe.